This is the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa bagong Pilipinas.
Good evening. This is 13 News.
Let's get into the headlines right now. Super Typhoon Inday inches closer to the Philippine area of responsibility. Government agencies are now ramping up preparations ahead of its impact. Tonight, heavy rains are already pouring over some parts of the country.
On day 2 of the impeachment trial, the Supreme Court is urged to halt the proceedings.
Philippine inflation eases in June, but the government vows its programs to uplift the lives of Filipinos will continue.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines confirms plans to establish a space command by 2028, as announced during a conference attended by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
And for some good news tonight, the country's youth archery team bags 30 medals at the Singapore Championships.
All these and more, here on 13 News.
First in the news tonight, on day 2 of the impeachment trial, the Senate Impeachment Court allowed the prosecution to present its first witness and play the video of Vice President Sara Duterte's alleged threats, despite objections from the defense.
While VP Sara appeared at the Senate, she did not attend the trial proper, as prosecutors moved to declare her as a hostile witness and hailed the day's proceedings as a success. The full report from IBC News correspondent Earl Tobias.
On day 2 of the impeachment trial, Vice President Sara Duterte appeared in the Senate but did not attend the trial itself. During the proceedings, which focused on Article 4, or the assassination plot and inciting to sedition of the impeachment complaint, the prosecution presented its first witness, NBI Senior Agent John Mark Calilong. Defense lawyers tried but failed to block his testimony, sparking debate over whether to play the video of VP Sara's alleged threats against President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and former Speaker Martin Romualdez. The court sided with the prosecution, allowing the shorter video to be played.
Yung pagbabanta ng Vice Presidente sa buhay ng Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, hindi po yan normal. That acts 110% sure betrayed the public trust.
The prosecution also moved to declare the Vice President as a hostile witness, saying that if she is truly respecting the process, she should have attended the trial herself. Earlier, VP Duterte declared she was prepared to be blooded but would never surrender in what she described as a bloodbath. But Prosecutor Terry Ridon said those remarks only underscored the seriousness of the alleged threats made by the Vice President.
Talagang yung pong bloodlust ng atin pong pangalang Pangulo, not just against the President but in this entirety of the impeachment proceedings, ay talagang totoo.
House Impeachment Advisor Robert Ace Barbers added that her brief appearance at the Senate did not resolve any of the issues.
Yung attendance of the Vice President is not accountability. It will not be an answer to all the allegations being thrown at her.
House Trial spokesperson Rene Co also insisted that the Vice President is not the victim in this impeachment trial.
Ang biktima dito ay ang taong bayan. Ang biktima ay ang mga hindi nabigyan ng sapat na serbisyo, but instead it went to the confidential and intelligence funds.
For now, the prosecution claims day 2 of the trial is a win for them.
Score kami sa video na lumabas na dapat naman talaga makita ng Senate Impeachment Court. Score kami sa ibang mga statements pa na lumabas galing sa Vice Presidente, we are ready to sustain this kind of trial.
The Senate Impeachment Court also returned the sealed BIR box believed to contain Duterte's tax records to the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Presiding Officer Cheese Escudero clarified the Senate is not yet the legitimate custodian of the box, pending a formal subpoena. It has also yet to be marked as evidence. Earl Tobias, IBC News.
Day 2 of the Senate impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte has been marked by new legal challenges as her camp asked the Supreme Court to halt the proceedings while questioning the Senate's impeachment rules and the authority of Senator Francis Cheese Escudero to preside over the trial. In a very urgent manifestation with motion, the camp sought a temporary restraining order or a status quo ante order, arguing that the Senate's June 3 adoption of the amended impeachment rules was unconstitutional. The petitioners urged the Supreme Court to suspend the trial until the constitutional issues are resolved. And to help us better understand today's developments, we are joined by political analyst Dr. Froilan Calilung to discuss the legal and political implications of the case. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Good evening, William, and good evening also to all your televiewers. Thank you for having me.
Okay, sir, our first question is from a constitutional perspective. How significant is the petition seeking to halt the trial and challenging Senator Escudero's authority to preside?
Well, I think this stems from the possibility that the trial may be rendered void ab initio if the right legal procedures, meaning to say the procedural mechanisms, are not followed religiously. I mean, both sides later on, even if we agree or even if we arrive at a verdict, both sides may actually come up with a petition declaring it void ab initio because the procedural mechanisms were not met properly. And I think this is where the defense actually is coming from at the moment. They don't want to see all the efforts being put to waste if later on it will be constitutionally challenged. That is, I think, the core of their contention at the moment. But we need to also understand that the Supreme Court at this point may no longer decide on this case, apparently because it already commenced, it already started, and that this issue may be regarded by the Supreme Court as more of political rather than legal or constitutional at the moment. So I don't think the Supreme Court will actually put a halt or stop the proceeding from taking its course, because that will be very unpopular also, and on the part of the Supreme Court, and also on the part of the nation, who is actually already intently listening to the proceedings as well. And I think what is important here is that we need to really be steadfast with the rules and the procedures. And I think to some extent, Senator Francis Cheese Escudero is doing a good job so far, trying to maintain the right decorum, trying to come up with the right rules and the procedures, except for that one which is being contested by the defense regarding who is supposed to be the presiding officer.
Okay, Dr. Calilong, after 2 days of the proceedings, how do you assess the direction of the impeachment trial, and how do you think it's going to go from here?
Well, basically, yesterday, of course, this was just more of an opening salvo. I mean, both camps tried to give out their opening statements, and really, there was really no trial to begin with yesterday. It only commenced today. And the way I'm seeing it, yesterday, I think the defense was able to lay their case quite well. But today, I think it was the prosecution who was able to score, primarily because I think the defense was a bit caught unaware as to what article was tried first. No, in this case, I think the defense was thinking that it will be about the SALN or about the confidential funds because these are the more contentious articles in the complaint. But then again, surprisingly, they went with the fourth one. And I think this was a bit surprising to the defense. But in a high stakes legal proceeding like this, you really need to be prepared for whatever strategy the opposing camp may have. And I think this particular strategy I think worked for the prosecution because it also allowed them presumably, to buy more time to solidify their evidences and maybe come up with better testimonies heading into the more contentious articles like SALN and the confidential funds.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Froilan Calilong, and I hope as the trial progresses, you will be able to join us again in the future. Thank you very much.
Definitely, by all means. Thank you.
Local government units in northern Luzon are now on heightened alert as the super typhoon Bavi nears the Philippine area of responsibility. As of this afternoon, Bavi has weakened and was last located 1,705 kilometers east of central Luzon, packing winds of 185 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 230 kilometers per hour. In terms of movement, it is moving northwestward through the Philippine Sea and is on a direct collision course with Taiwan and Japan's southwestern islands. According to Pag-asa, it will enter the Philippine area of responsibility tomorrow early morning and will be named Inday. It is seen to weaken further, and it will not make landfall over the Philippine landmass, but wind signals are still likely. It will, however, enhance the southwest monsoon. Hence, there is a high chance of rains over Zamboanga Peninsula, Barm, Lanao del Norte, Sultan Kudarat, Sarangani, South Cotabato, and the rest of Mindanao. Here in Metro Manila and the rest of the country, expect isolated rain showers due to localized thunderstorms. Ahead of the expected impact of Super Typhoon Inday, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has already placed LGUs in northern Luzon and other hazard-prone areas on heightened alert and ordered the immediate implementation of critical preparedness measures. The Office of Civil Defense has also conducted pre-disaster risk assessment, while the DSWD has prepared more than 4 million family food packs worth 3 billion pesos, 364,000 ready-to-eat food boxes, and thousands more of non-food items.
Meanwhile, 4 previously unknown fault zones beneath the sea west of Luzon have been discovered. Researchers from the University of the Philippines and National Central University in Taiwan identified faults from the main Philippine fault zone, one of the country's major earthquake systems responsible for significant crustal movement. One of the newly mapped faults extends towards the Manila Trench, a subduction zone capable of generating strong earthquakes and tsunamis. Researchers say the discovery will help improve geohazard maps, support more accurate earthquake risk assessments, and strengthen tsunami preparedness in vulnerable coastal communities.
Inflation in the Philippines cooled down in June, fueled by successive fuel price rollbacks, driven by easing tensions in the Middle East. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has approved several big-time projects in the economic meeting. IBC correspondent Ezra Abad has the details.
The Philippine inflation rate has eased down to 6.4% in June. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, this is lower than the 6.8% inflation in May, but higher than in June last year. Last month's inflation is within the central bank's forecast range of 6 to 7%. This was due to the slowdown of transport inflation, resulting from a series of price reductions in gasoline and diesel.
Malaking impact po yung pagbaba ng gasolina kung ikukumpara natin nung last month. Kahit paano nabawasan yung pasanin namin ng mga driver.
Despite the ongoing peace talks between the United States and Iran, the PSA said it will continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East as it may still affect the energy supply in the country.
This external factor, yung Middle East conflict, would still be a major factor to our overall inflation moving forward.
For its part, the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, or DepDev, highlights the importance of maintaining a stable food supply amid calamities, especially now that it's rainy season. Apart from keeping the inflation low, the Marcos Jr. administration also continues to work on improving the daily travel experience of Filipinos. Earlier today, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approved several big-ticket projects during his economic meeting. This include plans for the Common Rail Station, which will connect LRT-1, MRT-3, and MRT-7, including the Metro Manila subway. The president also approved the 10 billion peso Philippine Geothermal Resource De-risking Facility project of the Department of Energy, Philippine Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure Master Plan, among others. Ezra Abad, IBC News.
Is your bank still charging you high transfer fees? Despite the Bangko Central's new rule on transfer fees, several banks have yet to comply with the measure. Under BSP Circular 1238, intrabank and interbank transfer fees should only reflect the switch cost, which is estimated to be at 1 peso and 50 centavos. Usually, banks charge up to 10 pesos per transaction for transfers to other banks. Land Bank and BPI have permanently waived all bank transfer fees in compliance with the measure. For Land Bank, this also includes transfers to and from Overseas Filipino Bank or OF Bank, while RCBC and Union Bank have waived InstaPay transfer fees, while financial service institutions like GCash and Maya have reduced their transfer fees from 15 pesos to 10 pesos per transaction. The central bank is calling out institutions that have yet to adjust their fees or those still imposing what it considers excessive charges. Coming up next, the Philippines, along with several other nations, raise concerns over China's submarine-launched missile test. Stay tuned. This is 13 News.
Katotohanan para sa akin is who you are and what you are as a journalist. Dahil bilang journalist, kailangan mong magsalita at magsulat ng katotohanan.
We all have our versions of truth, pero yung truth na dapat nating binibigyan ng emphasis is always the truth that would be beneficial for the greater public.
Truth is very important to me. I grew up valuing honesty, so it's natural for me. And I really think na hindi ba dapat naman talaga parte ng pagkatao natin yung totoo tsaka yung pagpapakatotoo.
Welcome back to the program. The Armed Forces of the Philippines has presented to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. its proposed AFP Space Command during the first semester 2026 AFP Command Conference. AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. said the proposed command is targeted to be established by 2028 in line with the President's directive. President Marcos Jr. also reaffirmed his support for AFP modernization to build a more capable, mission-ready military. He said a modern armed forces is essential to protect the country's sovereignty, peace, and security.
Dalawang napaka-importanteng gamit ng space. Number one is ISR, yung eye in the sky, para makita natin yung nangyayari sa lupa at sa ating karagatan. And second is to connect all our systems, so yung communication system.
Department of Planning, Economy and Development has weighed in on the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The agency emphasized that accountability is essential to sustain economic growth, saying strong governance is key to a stable economy. Meanwhile, amid a series of objections during the proceedings, Senate Impeachment Court spokesperson Attorney Reginald Tongol said the defense is entitled to raise objections as part of due process.
Party po yun, opo. Party po talaga po yun. They have the right to raise objections and they have the right to ask for a ruling on their objections po.
It also opened seats to the public for the impeachment trial. Among those in attendance was third-year political science student Jethro, who said it is important for the younger generation to witness democracy in action.
Mahalaga po na bilang mga kabataan, makialam po kami at isa po kami sa mga makapanood mismo ng dahil syempre po, kung mga kabataan, naghiwala po kami sa accountability, transparency, and yun po yung hangat ko.
The Philippines has condemned China's recent test launch of a ballistic missile from a nuclear-powered submarine in the Pacific Ocean just days before the anniversary of the 2016 arbitral ruling. The missile test drew swift condemnation from countries across the region, including the United States, amid growing concerns over China's expanding nuclear capabilities. In a statement, the Department of National Defense described the launch as a reckless display of military power that serves no peaceful purpose and undermines the rights of nations in the Pacific. The department also said the Philippines stands with its Pacific partners in urging China to act responsibly in shared seas. Meanwhile, hundreds of Filipino artists showed their support for the country's 2016 arbitral ruling in the West Philippine Sea through the WPS Mural Festival 2026. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro said the festival supports the country's efforts to assert its sovereignty while promoting peace, adding that the murals reflect a growing sense of nationhood among Filipinos. The festival also showcased the artwork of participating artists to help promote awareness of the country's maritime heritage.
Power is an underestimated power in this country. Remember, we were able to topple down the Spanish colonization 400 years with 2 novels of Jose Rizal. Pen is mightier than the sword. So in our generation, brush is mightier than war or any nuclear bomb.
Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro has not filed any complaint against the Filipino protesters who harassed her in Canada during President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s visit to Canada. Castro said she was disappointed by the protesters' behavior, saying their actions did not reflect Filipino values. She also said she has no information on reports that some of the protesters could face deportation.
Hindi kami naapi eh. Ang naapi dito yung bansang Pilipinas kasi pinakita nila kung anong klaseng Pilipino sila.
First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos led the ceremonial turnover of 44 patient transport vehicles to local government units in Butuan City. The turnover, which was held at the Butuan City Sports Complex, aims to help improve access to medical transport services in the communities. The patient transport vehicles are expected to strengthen the delivery of health care, especially in remote and underserved areas.
And here is a quick sports recap. Filipino athletes continue to make their mark on the global stage as Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala wrapped up her historic Wimbledon campaign, while the Philippine National Youth Archery team delivered an impressive medal haul in Singapore. Despite her 4th-round loss to Italy's Jasmine Paolini, Ayala received a standing ovation from the Wimbledon crowd for her historic run. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. also paid tribute to Ayala in a social media post, calling her a champion and a source of national pride. The president thanked her for proving that Filipinos can achieve even their biggest dreams and excel on the international stage. Following her Wimbledon campaign, Ayala is now set to compete in the Mubadala DC Open in the United States on July 25th.
Yeah, it was a very challenging match today. I think that Jasmine played great, and I gave everything that I could. I did everything that I could do today, so I'm proud of that, and you know, I have to be proud of what I've achieved this week. But I understand that that's part of the job. I don't think I'm going to be playing the best tennis of my life every single day, and I don't expect that. And with that being said, I'm really proud of how I handled things, and I think I just have to kind of move forward and continue with my progress.
Youth archery team turned in a dominant performance at the Singapore Youth Archery Championships, winning a total of 30 medals. The young Filipino archers captured 13 golds, 10 silvers, and 7 bronze medals across the tournament's 3 divisions. Meanwhile, football icon Cristiano Ronaldo was emotional after playing what he said was his final FIFA World Cup match. Ronaldo confirmed his farewell to the tournament after Portugal's campaign ended with a 1-0 loss to Spain. He said he leaves the World Cup with a clear conscience and will now take time to reflect and be with his family.
Tehran is holding a 6-day funeral ceremony for its late supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, who was killed by an airstrike last February. Meanwhile, explosions detonated near a hotel where French President Emmanuel Macron is staying, killing and injuring multiple people. We have more details from CJ Reyes.
Thousands filled the streets of Tehran to pay their respects for late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in a joint U.S.-Israeli airstrike last February. Many Iranians chanted slogans while calling for retaliation. The funeral is expected to last several days as Iran continues to project unity amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. 2 bombs exploded inside a cafe in Damascus, Syria, killing at least 5 people and injuring 18 others. The cafe is located near the hotel where French President Emmanuel Macron was staying. Authorities have yet to identify those responsible. Despite the incident, Macron continued his visit as scheduled. The world's first full-size mass-produced ultra-bionic humanoid robots are here. Chinese manufacturer UB Tech Robotics unveiled the AI-powered robots that can hold conversations and be customized to resemble loved ones or celebrities. The robots designed to help address loneliness among single and elderly users are priced at $17,000 to $145,000 US. Meanwhile, astronauts aboard the International Space Station was able to capture a unique view of the United States' 4th of July celebrations from orbit. Footage shows fireworks illuminating Los Angeles as seen from space. CJ Reyes, IBC News.
Before we wrap up tonight's newscast, we bring you the results of the PCSO's 9 p.m. lottery draws. For the Lotto 642, the winning numbers are 20, 16, 12, 35, 5, and 6 with a jackpot prize of 10 million pesos. For the Super Lotto 649, the winning combination is 26, 18, 42, 19, 11, and 3 with a jackpot price of 58,966,175 pesos and 50 centavos. For the Ultra Lotto 658, the winning combination is 50, 22, 58, 57, 43, and 29 with a jackpot price of 128 million pesos. For the 6D Lotto, the winning combination in exact order is 7, 0, 0, 3, 8, and 2. For the 3D Lotto, the winning numbers are 0, 9, and 3. And finally, for the 2D Lotto draw, the winning numbers are 4 and 18. There is no winner for the Lotto 642, Super Lotto 649, and Ultra Lotto 658. Super Typhoon Bobby is expected to enter the Philippine area of responsibility tomorrow, prompting heightened preparations nationwide as the country braces for a massive storm. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has directed disaster response agencies to mobilize preparing evacuation centers, with the NDRRMC preparing rescue teams and relief goods with response clusters already on standby. Authorities are enforcing sea travel bans. Preemptive evacuations in high-risk areas are set to begin.
Meanwhile, the Senate impeachment court is set to resume the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte tomorrow. The prosecution is expected to continue presenting its case after the court allowed its first witness and video evidence earlier today. Meanwhile, Duterte's legal team has asked the Supreme Court to temporarily halt the proceedings, citing questions over the authority of the Senate's presiding officer. Duterte is also not expected to attend the proceedings as she is set to meet with her defense team.
And those were the latest from the IBC Newsroom this evening.
We'll continue to monitor the stories that matter and give you updates as they develop. I'm Angela C.
And I'm William Thio. This is 13 News. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.